This can't become a fishing expedition like the Democrats would like to see it be. Look, I think you have to go back to the very beginning of day one of when President Trump nominated Judge Brett Kavanaugh. From that very first moment, before any of these allegations that had even been brought up, Democrats said they were not going to support him, they weren't going to vote for him, and they were going to do everything within their power to fight him. We've seen that play out over the last couple of months. They've been absolutely disgraceful in the way that they've handled this process, in the way that they've exploited both Brett Kavanaugh and Dr. Ford.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders is denying the White House is limiting the scope of the background check investigation into Brett Kavanaugh and doubling down on the party line that Democrats are exploiting both Kavanaugh and Dr. Ford. Back with me, Michelle Bernard, Jason Johnson, Tiffany Cross. Oh, let's do a lightning round here. Let's start with Senator Mazie Hirono, who was on the Sunday shows earlier this morning on whether the FBI investigation will be credible if it's limited in scope. This is from ABC earlier.
I would think that Jeff Flake and the other senators who are going for this investigation will call for. There's time, you know. The thing is that every Senate vote matters, and there's time to get to the bottom of it. Even if it's 7 days, that's bad enough. But then to limit the FBI as to the scope and who they're going to question, that really. I wanted to use the word farce, but that's not the kind of investigation that all of us are expecting the FBI to conduct.
Michelle Bernard, is this beginning to look like it might just be a farce in order to get Republicans an excuse to vote for Kavanaugh?
Absolutely, it looks like a complete farce. If you're going to have an investigation, a real investigation, at a minimum, they have to interview Mark Judge. They have to interview the 3 other women who have made allegations against Judge Kavanaugh. They have to talk to people to find out if there is a pattern and practice on the judge's behalf of lying on small things as well as big things, as you know, problems with alcohol, the possibility that he blacked out and doesn't actually remember what may or may not have happened. You cannot limit the scope of the investigation, because if you do, there's no reason for the 1-week delay. Yeah. It would be an absolute farce, and I am hoping that if they really limit the scope of the investigation, that Jeff Flake will step up to the plate and vote no on Kavanaugh.
We shall see. Let's go to Lindsey Graham talking about Kavanaugh's drinking, also on ABC.
He's not a stumbling, bumbling drunk. I don't believe that you could have accomplished what he's accomplished, to have been a serial rapist in high school. The Devil's Triangle is not what people said on the internet. It is a drinking game. I think he's highly qualified. I think he's a capable man. I think he was his life was ruined here.
All right, Jason Johnson, I'm going to give this to you with the caveat that one can be quite successful and have a history of doing things in a sexual vein that are wrong. Hashtag Bill Cosby, but go for it.
Right. So this is what makes all of this so disingenuous. The question is not whether or not Brett Kavanaugh was in a devil's triangle, or whether Republican interns tried to change the Wikipedia entry, or whether he was boofing, or whether that's actually not the question. The question is, number one, did he sexually assault someone in 1982? And 2, did he engage in a lifetime of behavior into possibly his 20s of harassment and abuse and mistreatment of women that manifests itself in how he will operate as a judge? So the Republicans want to focus on this particular night or limit the scope, this, that, the other. That doesn't really matter. But if you're somebody who has a lifetime of abuse, maybe you shouldn't be on the court making fundamental decisions about women's lives.
Yeah, let's go to Kellyanne Conway. And this was something similar happened on our show yesterday with Carrie Sheffield, where Kellyanne Conway got emotional. She talked about her own status as a victim or a survivor of sexual assault. And this was from CNN earlier today.
What you saw the other day is a Senate Judiciary confirmation hearing. It is not a criminal or civil proceeding. And let me just say also, it's not a meeting of the Me Too movement. I feel very empathetic, frankly, for victims of sexual assault and sexual harassment and rape. That I'm a victim of sexual assault. I don't expect Judge Kavanaugh or Jake Tapper or Jeff Flake or anybody to be held responsible for that.
And, you know, that was a very emotional moment, Tiffany, for her. But at the same time, I'm not sure that, I don't know, the argument she's making is that essentially that the Democrats on the committee are trying to hold Brett Kavanaugh responsible for all of the sexual assault and rape that has happened everywhere.
Yeah, so the thing that all of these people have in common, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who has zero credibility with the American people, Senator Lindsey Graham, whose performance this week was an audition for the position of Attorney General for the President of the United States, and now you have Kellyanne Conway trying to conflate issues that really aren't relevant. I think, listen, any woman who's been a victim, who has survived it, obviously my heart goes out to them. I applaud them, and I extend that to Carrie Sheffield as well. I watched her bravely tell her truth yesterday. The challenge is Kellyanne Conway is actively defending a man who has 15 accusers himself who have said that he sexually assaulted them. So I don't know how you coexist with those two conflicting ideologies. So I don't buy it. And the fact that they're trying to, very carefully and strategically make the narrative that the Democrats are out, trying to make Brett Kavanaugh the face of this movement, I just think that argument is going to fall flat. This is somebody who has active accusers, 3 that we know of right now, actively accused and credibly accusing him of sexually assaulting him. That's what's at issue here. And the biggest question that people need to understand is, does this man deserve to sit on the Supreme Court? Like you pointed out very well yesterday, Joy, his liberty is not at stake here. This is not a question of does he deserve to spend his life in prison. The question is, does he deserve to sit on the highest court of the land? And after we saw his belligerent performance that was extremely partisan, I don't understand how you can call yourself a patriot, even though you may watch Fox News all day and have a Confederate flag in your pickup truck and beat your chest about how much you love this country. Stand up for this country and show patriotism and show, no, that is not the way the highest court of the land functions. You cannot allow this person to serve on the Supreme Court when there are still questions about his sobriety, his truthfulness, and his ability to operate as a jurist in a bipartisan way. Yeah.
Let's before I'm going to let you in, Jason, but I want to really quickly play. There's the joint interview that Jeff Flake and Chris Coons did with 60 Minutes talking about Kavanaugh's behavior in Thursday's hearing. I want to play real quick, and then Jason, I'll come to you.
I have to say that when I heard him, I heard someone who I hoped I would sound like if I had been unjustly accused. And to see his family behind him, as Chris said, and it was anger. But if I were unjustly accused, that's how I would feel as well. And as it went on, I think his interaction with some of the members was a little too sharp.
Your thoughts, Jason?
So this is what's interesting about this kind of behavior and these kinds of questions. Unarmed black people get shot all the time, and people just take the cop's word for it, right? But suddenly we have this situation, and everybody's got to be like SVU, and we gotta find the information, the evidence, and et cetera, et cetera. Look, it's whether you believe this woman or not. It's whether you believe Dr. Ford or not. And what's particularly egregious about all this is, regardless of whether you believe her or whether you believe Brett Kavanaugh, how many people out there watching in America right now could throw a temper tantrum during a job interview and still get the job? I mean, if there's nothing else, that is the most ridiculous element of his behavior, that he was yelling at the people that are eventually going to be making the decision.
Absolutely. Okay, very quickly with our last remaining seconds, we're changing topics. This is a hard turn, okay? Because I have to play this soundbite and get each of you to quickly comment on it, because this is something else. This is Donald Trump on the dictator of North Korea, Kim Jong-un.
I was really being tough, and so was he. And we would go back and forth. And then we fell in love, okay? No, really. He wrote me beautiful letters. And they're great letters. We fell in love.
Okay, wait, Michael Avenatti responded to it. Let me get his response, and then I'm going to give each of you a chance at it. People that real Donald Trump truly loves, in order: himself, Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un. Top that, Michelle Bernard.
I can't even begin to fathom what I could say to cap it. All I can say is our country has become the laughing stock of the world. This is absolutely horrific. He loves a despot. What else can I say?
Unbelievable. Very quickly, Jason Johnson, fast.
And the same despot just said, hey, we're going to keep getting nuclear weapons. So I guess Trump just got curved right after he got the letter.
Tiffany, close it out quickly.
I'll just say, when you elect the clown, you get a circus, and we're seeing that circus play out right now.
Lord have mercy. Michelle Bernard, Jason Johnson, Tiffany Cross, go forth and have brunch. Thank y'all very much. Coming up.